This country, you gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
In this country, I think he's talking about Canada. Ladies and gents, welcome back. I'm going to do my best to stay within the confines of the rules here on YouTube when putting this video together. Now, this is going to be tough because we're talking about illicit substances that are trafficked heavily in this country of Canada. Now, I'm going to get right into first a clip of Pierre Poilievre just months ago, talking in Parliament about how bad it's actually gotten here in Canada under Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. I showed this in the last video, and if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But this is we're getting into the whole history or the story of how bad it's gotten here in Canada.
The results are in on the Prime Minister's radical liberalization of hard drugs. He teamed up with the BC NDP to decriminalize all crack and heroin. He lowered jail sentences for mass producers of deadly fentanyl, and 80% of the made in Canada is done so using ingredients that are not even regulated, but come right into our country where they're cooked into that poison, now threatening our trade relationship with the U.S. Will he reverse his radical liberal agenda to save lives and jobs?
Yeah, so this has really put in jeopardy our trade relationship with the United States. Of course, you know now that Donald Trump has put forward 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods because of this. It's largely because of this. Now, numbers are going out there saying, you know, it's only 1% of all of that stuff. So here's Stephen Punwazi on X saying, Canada's public safety minister just said that less than 1% of America's bad stuff is from Canada, and ditto for illegal immigrants. Here's why this is a whopper of a lie, warning your opinion of Canada. It will irreversibly change. Now, Canada has become, it seems like, the capital of money laundering and illicit substances in the world, and it's largely due to the lax rules around all of these substances. So he goes on. This is a long thread, by the way. I'll leave a link in the description for this thread. Go read through a bunch of it. Last year, U.S. border seized 19.6 thousand pounds of that bad stuff that starts with F that you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube. So we're dancing around the words. Canada busts in Q4. A lab in BC was producing around about 4% of that volume per year. A lab in Alberta produced about 1% of that volume. In Canada, just these 4 busts in Q4 represented over $1 billion worth of profits in this illicit market, black market that we're not supposed to be mentioning. I doubt that was a handcrafted artisanal bad stuff designed for sale at local farmers markets. Canada has been well aware of this for decades. DEA alleged that El Chapo stated that Canada was more lucrative than the United States and sent a lieutenant as a student. And by the way, you could get a student visa pretty easy, or you have been able to up until recently, pretty easy in Canada. Now, one of these busts was showcased by the CCFR recently on X. Now, I wanted to point this out because, I mean, they're a great organization, obviously, but they put this out there. RCMP discovered massive Mexican cartel Superlab, the largest in Canadian history, in Falkland, BC. Police seized huge quantities of illicit bad stuff and chemicals, guns and ammo, explosive devices, body armor, and $50,000 in cash, making a seizure worth approximately $485 million. Now, this is where it gets really suspect. Listen to this part of the thing.
The Enderby bust and the Falkland bust this past weekend, part of a much larger transnational criminal organization operating in BC. The Superlabs set up to run for weeks without resupplying the input chemicals. But despite the sophistication and size of the operation, Only one man has been arrested.
One guy.
Gaganpreet Singh Randhawa.
Now, how is that possible? How is that possible that only one guy gets arrested in this situation? And I've ran this by some other people who've worked in enforcement and whatnot, and they said that even that $500,000 in cash number seemed a little sus as well. Where's the rest of that cash, boys? But that's neither here nor there. Now, is this a one-off? Like, is this one of these, it just happened to be one of these things happening in Canada? No, it turns out that this has been going on for a long time, and there's a lot of people in this market, as was put forward by Dane Lloyd. Shocking, RCMP confirms that there are over 4,000 separate organized crime groups operating in Canada. This is unbelievable.
So you have no idea how many people could possibly be involved in trade in Canada?
There's a significant significant number of organized crime group, but if you're asking me for a specific number, I can't give you a specific number.
How many organized crime groups are involved?
Over 4,000 organized crime groups in Canada, as assessed by the Criminal Intelligence Service Canada.
4,000 individual organized crime groups, all with their own distinct leadership and membership?
That's correct.
That is unbelievable. And this is why is this happening in Canada? So you understand, if we know about this, if our intelligence services knows about this and is unable to do it because they've been, basically castrated from being able to do their job thanks to our current government, of course, the United States knows about what's going on here. And this would be a lot of the reason why Donald Trump is being very insistent that this is going to go through. These tariffs are going to happen until there's some serious work towards getting rid of this stuff. Now, in a recent video from Frank Vaughn, by the way, go subscribe to his channel. He puts out amazing content. He was pointing this out, and he said that, it was the video, the fulcrum, the massive scale of crime in Canada is unfathomable. Now, what he's talking about here is the fact that, we capture some of it, but that only represents a fraction, a portion of what actually is out there and what is happening in these markets.
I'm not in the business of lying to you or misleading you or trying to get your clicks or trying to present a terrible case. I'm trying to present accurately, and that's what these numbers are. The estimate is that of the seized, the ratio is for every pound seized, there's 20 pounds that make it to market, upwards to 100 pounds. So it's a 20-to-1 to 100-to-1 ratio of drugs that make it to market, makes it to market versus seized. For the ratio is 30 pounds to market for every one seized, upwards to 97-to-1. It's with it's 20-to-1 to 101. You get the point. I don't think I have to belabor the explanation.
No, you don't. You absolutely don't. And after watching this, I'm pretty convinced Canada is the money laundering and capital of the world. This is what Trump is targeting. Make no mistake, Trump will win this. Trudeau is using you as collateral damage in this fight. Now, with that much illicit substances being traded in Canada and that many people behind all of this, I mean, we would have to ask questions. Well, who's involved? Who's behind all of this stuff? We heard about, Randy, one of the Randys out there has been had business dealings with the trafficking of some substances. How high does this go? How high really does it go? And if Trudeau is going to shut down government and forego making any efforts to fix this, why? What are the motivations behind that? So this is a question, obviously. Now, Donald Trump was interviewed. He's been interviewed many times, but he says this on Fox News. He's furious with Canada, disagrees with Canadian leadership. Something is going to happen there. Here's the clip anyway.
Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada?
Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way.
Yeah, it has been a one-way street. In fact, the whole story of the banks, we can't have American banks, but they've been taking Canadian banks. In fact, one of them was busted for laundering money. I'm not kidding. TD Bank pleads guilty in money laundering case and will pay out $3 billion in penalties. That's right. TD Bank was allowed to work in the United States and do business there. And this is what they've been doing. What is going on Canada? It is absolutely insane. More stories. Here's Vancouver Sun with the prominent Western gangs have worldwide bad stuff networks pose security threat in Canada, report finds. Is this from just recent today? No, this is from December. This has been going on. We know about this stuff and we're doing nothing about it. This is why we have tariffs on us. It is unreal. 90% of illegals on bad guy watch lists are now coming through Canada. Trump was right to hold Trudeau accountable.
Most of the people who come are involved in smuggling. This video shows attempted human smuggling in New York last year, stopped by Border Patrol.
Are the cartels behind this?
Some may be, some might not be.
Last fiscal year, Border Patrol apprehended 564 people on the terror watch list. Of them, 484 were encountered on the northern border.
Yes, it's happening from Canada. It's unreal. We get a lot of this denial that's happening out there about this. No, it's happening. It's absolutely happening. And this is what the issue absolutely is. Angelo on X here saying President Trump specifically cites British Columbia in his executive order to impose tariffs on our country. These are the consequences of weak and radical NDP leadership that give Americans an argument against us. The free bad stuff culture promoted by the NDP has destroyed our reputation and killed countless people. Ebby and the NDP response to tariffs is to ban liquor from red states, which is absolutely unbelievable. Like, what are you doing? You're specifically targeting Trump voters? What are you doing? This is absolutely ridiculous. John Rustad and the Conservatives plan to release a comprehensive 10-point plan, yada, yada. But this has been pointed out. It's unreal. And then it's not like people haven't been talking about this. So this is a really good one of what's his name? Sam Cooper. Sam Cooper was recently on a podcast, and he's been talking about this lies and dark ties to China. This is it's really all coming from China, a lot of this stuff. So the precursor chemicals that they turn into the bad stuff that starts with an F, they come from China, and they're not even illegal here, and they come en masse. This is what needs to stop. It's crazy.
So the drugs are coming in through Vancouver, right, then spreading across Canada and getting down into the United States.
Absolutely, and just to break that down more slightly, as you know, the precursors themselves are often not illegal, so China ships the precursors into the west coast of Mexico and the west coast of Canada, because we know that U.S. law enforcement is going to have a much stronger control on the American west coast. And so Vancouver is used for those precursor hubs, the precursors to come in. They're printed up in pill presses and Superlabs, they call them, factories in British Columbia, and shipped around the world. And the money collected from those sales, this is where these massive piles of warehouse cash, they're collected in Vancouver, and ultra wealthy businessmen, Chinese Communist Party officials, they call them whale gamblers, gangsters, fly into Vancouver. They take this cash, walk into casinos, the money is laundered, and it goes back to these Chinese factories, and the precursors come in again. That's
unreal. This is absolutely unreal. This is happening right under our noses. And again, we're not doing anything about it. And this is why Donald Trump has put the tariffs on Canada. Now, this isn't a one-off. This is another interview with Blender News, by the way. These guys are great. Again, all the links are in the description. You're going to want to watch all of this stuff in its entirety. They interviewed a CBSA agent whistleblower and says, like, this, you got to watch the whole thing. I'm going to show you a short clip here.
I have, just to make it clear, I have a lot of respect and love for the officers that wear uniform in the RCMP that are working hard to protect us. Make no mistake about that. But the brass at the RCMP and the people they control at RCMP, their investigators, the political aspect plays a big role on what they investigate or not. In my case, when I went to the RCMP, I gave them a report on the things that were occurring, some of the things that were occurring in my unit, in addition to the destruction of passport. Things that were exchanged verbally between me and one of the detectives, I picked up on and I stopped telling him things. They issued a letter to me saying that the National Investigation Unit, what I reported about the destruction of passport, didn't fall under their mandate.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Again, links as always in the description down below. This is where we're at in Canada. There is good reason why these tariffs are being put on our country. We need to do something about our problem. I can't even say the words. That's how much we're being tied up. And this is another question that comes in. Why is it so censored? Why is it that there is a lot of money to be had, and there's a lot of effort in making sure that this story doesn't get out there? Hopefully this one does. Share it if you can, but put it on out there. The links for all of that stuff is in the description down below. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.